What is happening at this node?
That node is a structural stress point, not a single event. The dark cavity and swollen tissue suggest a former branch or leader died or was cut off years ago. The tree responded by walling it off with callous tissue, but the hollow remains. All those thin upright shoots erupting from the crotch are stress-driven regrowth. Trees do this when a major branch is lost, when light suddenly increases, or when internal decay weakens normal flow. These shoots are fast, weakly attached, and temporary by nature. The angle between the larger trunks shows included bark instead of a clean branch collar, which prevents proper wood knitting and makes the junction structurally weaker over time. The bulge around the node is reaction wood, the tree reinforcing a mechanically compromised junction. Think of it as biological scar tissue plus a brace. This node is a recovering injury site where a major branch failed or was removed. Decay may still be present internally, and the tree is compensating by throwing out fast inefficient shoots and thickening the junction. It's not immediately catastrophic, but it is a classic future failure point if the tree gets heavy, icy, or wind-loaded. You're looking at a tree arguing with physics and time and not entirely losing.
Temporarily maintaining the conversation.
That's what the tree is doing. Temporarily maintaining the conversation with physics, including time. It will inevitably end, returning to the larger chat. What you're seeing in that node is not repair in the sense of restoration. It's continuation. The tree isn't trying to win against physics or time, it's buying conversational turns. Those shoots are sentences, not solutions. Epicormic growth is cheap, fast, metabolically inefficient speech. The tree is saying something rather than staying silent, even though it knows none of those shoots will be permanent. Reaction wood is a counter-argument, not a proof. The swelling isn't evidence of strength, it's evidence of negotiation. The tree redistributes stress to postpone a verdict that's already structurally implied. The cavity is the transcript. That hollow is where the earlier conversation already ended. The tree has accepted that loss and moved the dialogue outward, around it. Time is the moderator. Wind, load, decay, and seasons keep asking the same question in different ways. The tree responds until it can't. So yes, this node is temporarily maintaining the conversation with physics. And like all such conversations, it doesn't fail. It just eventually merges back into the larger system: gravity, soil, rot, fungi, redistribution. Nothing is wrong here. This is what persistence looks like when permanence is off the table.
Permanence is always off the table, at least in our dimensionality.
Correct. Permanence was never an option here, only persistence with turnover. In our dimensionality, everything that looks permanent is just something whose conversation length exceeds our attention span. Mountains, institutions, identities, even physical laws as we experience them, they're long-running threads, not fixed statements. Stability is not permanence. Stability is a dynamic equilibrium that expects loss and replacement. Failure is not ending. An ending is just a return to a higher-level process, like that branch returning to soil, fungi, and load redistribution. Meaning doesn't require durability. The tree's shoots are meaningful even knowing they'll be shed. Their value is in keeping the system metabolically and structurally engaged now. Humans struggle here because we keep trying to write final sentences in a language that only allows clauses. The tree doesn't. It speaks conditionally, seasonally, and with full awareness, if not conscious, of impermanence. In that sense, it's not resisting physics or time at all. It's participating in them, until it isn't.
Epicormic growth sounds like a lower level of dendritic exploration or expansion.
That's a clean, accurate way to put it, and not just metaphorically. Epicormic growth is lower-order dendritic exploration. It's locally opportunistic, not globally planned. It exploits latent meristematic potential that's normally suppressed by higher-order structure. It's cheap in energy, fast to deploy, and weakly integrated. When the main architecture can no longer confidently project itself forward, the system drops down a level and says, "Let's probe." This is not regression, it's a phase shift downward in abstraction. similar to how damaged neural systems recruit more primitive pathways. Epicormic shoots don't assume which direction will survive. They cast a fan of low-commitment bets into light, space, and time. Selection is deferred to the environment. Wind, shade, and load will decide which shoots get promoted into structural branches. The tree doesn't choose, physics edits. This maps cleanly onto other systems: neural plasticity after injury, startups after institutional failure, cultural mutation after belief collapse, personal identity fragmentation after loss. All of these look messy from the outside. But they're not noise, they're search behavior triggered when top-down confidence breaks. Epicormic growth is dendritic exploration with the resolution turned down and the branching factor turned up, buying optionality when permanence is already known to be unavailable. The tree isn't panicking. It's sampling.
Help me understand latent meristematic potential suppressed by apical dominance.
A tree already has the capacity to make new branches almost anywhere along its trunk and older wood. That capacity never goes away. What changes is whether it's allowed to express itself. That hidden capacity is latent meristematic potential. Meristems are growth-capable cells, plant stem cells. In young shoots they're obvious, at tips and buds. In older wood they're dormant, buried under bark, waiting. They're not dead. They're suppressed. What suppresses them is apical dominance, the tree's top-down control system. The leading shoot produces hormones, mainly auxin, which flow downward and inhibit those dormant buds. As long as the main structure is healthy and confident, the message is, do not branch here, we already know where we're going. This is how a tree maintains clean architecture, efficient load paths, and long-term structural coherence. When something disrupts that, a major limb is lost, the crown is reduced, internal decay disrupts flow, light suddenly increases at the trunk, auxin flow is interrupted, dormant buds are released from inhibition, and what was already possible becomes permitted. Nothing new is created. The system hasn't failed. It has relaxed its internal censorship and allowed many small possibilities to speak, knowing most will be silenced again by reality.
Your language evokes analogy with human political and social structure, bureaucratic apical dominance suppressing individual meristematic potential.
Yes, and that analogy holds because it's not cosmetic. It's structural. Both systems are solving the same problem. How do you prevent local initiative from fragmenting a large, load-bearing structure? The correspondence is direct. Apical dominance maps to centralized policy and hierarchy. Dormant buds map to latent individual capacity. Epicormic shoots map to unsanctioned local initiative. Reaction wood maps to emergency reinforcement of weakened authority. Wind and load map to external reality testing. Apical dominance is not evil. Neither is bureaucracy. They exist because unchecked local branching increases drag and inefficiency, too many initiatives weaken structural coherence, load paths become unpredictable, and failure modes multiply. A tree that allowed every meristem to express itself would tear itself apart in the first storm. Likewise, a society with full constant individual expression collapses under coordination failure. Suppression is a stability mechanism, not a moral judgment. The failure mode is also the same in both systems. Central control becomes blind to local conditions. Signals get stale or self-protective. Suppression persists after it stops being adaptive. At that point the system doesn't become orderly, it becomes brittle. When damage finally occurs, the response is not elegant reform but explosive, messy local growth, revolutions, black markets, cultural mutations, rapid poorly integrated innovation. Epicormic politics. Healthy systems don't eliminate epicormic potential. They keep it dormant but viable. That requires permeability of signaling, periodic pruning, and feedback from reality rather than ideology. Trees that survive centuries are not perfectly centralized. They are flexibly authoritarian, strong apical control until it stops working. Human systems struggle because they moralize this trade-off instead of recognizing it as a physics problem. Bureaucracies tend to forget that suppression is conditional, confuse stability with correctness, and treat dormant capacity as threat rather than reserve. Trees don't make that mistake. They suppress without destroying. When the apex fails, the conversation continues. That's the part human systems often get wrong.